Yeah, the ones that hate me the most are just like me. You tell me what that means. Make a slip comment and see what that brings. See it go down when you read their things. Extreme like DMXing. These boys pussy that PMSing. People in the city see the movement of current and say, my God, I wanna be in that scene. Damn right you wanna be in this scene. She had a video trying to be in this scene. She fantasized about being in this scene. Bluegrass girl, she got big dreams. Can't touch me, I got instincts. Locked in the house, but I'm plotting things. I brought a game to the party with me. 5 white boys, but they not in sync. Photoshop thing, all everything you say about me. My dogs had to play mad in the 2K. But one thing. Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to the Juiced Up Show. I'm your host, Jake Juiced Up Accardo. It is episode 13 of the program. We're doing a late drop, but hey, it is what it is. I ain't got a fan base. I can do what I please. The Juiced Up Show is basically ESPN meets TMZ. We do pop culture, social media, anything viral that's worth talking about. And we don't do politics. We don't do religion, so we don't even bother. Make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the like button. Pass the link along, pass the word around. We're trying to get the show better and better, add new segments, try to keep it interesting, try to keep it spicy. And then now with the NBA starting, we have another sport to talk about aside from just football. We got the Baseball World Series coming up, and then we also got the Juiced Up Takes. We're going to go into our fraudulent record file. NFL, the fraudulent record file. We're going to pull some teams that I think have fraudulent winning records, that I think the teams they have beat, they ain't that good, so they look like frauds on paper. So we're going to do that new segment. It's called the Fraudulent Report. And we're going to start off with NBA. We had the NBA tip-off. It was a great game. We had Houston versus Oklahoma City. OKC got their rings. They won the title last year. And then they played a great game, double OT. It was a doubleheader night. We had the Lakers and the Warriors, where the second game was Lakers got a lot of work to do without LeBron. They're going to have to find some other scorers. Luka's not going to be able to bear the brunt of everything, and they got to play some solid defense. So hopefully with the additions they made, they can play some great defense and, win some games without LeBron until he's ready to come back. And then the following night, we had, so Tuesday the game started. Wednesdays when every other team played. And then Friday is when the big news happened. We had a great night of tip-off games. There were some great games. And then all of a sudden, the Chauncey Billups news dropped in the AM. He was arrested by the FBI for rigging poker games with the mafia, also tipping off about what players weren't going to be playing. So he's in some deep trouble right now. They have record of him getting wire fraud of $50,000. The extent of the cheating was, from when I read it, I couldn't believe it. It sounded like some Hollywood Ocean's 15 type crap. Like they had X-ray tables or cards. They had infrared signals. Like you had to wear special glasses. They were doing like tips to each other at the table. And basically the role that Chauncey Billups played in this was he was called the face card, which was he used his celebrity status to get other celebrities or people with deep pockets to in these games. And then essentially they would get ripped off. So when the feds come for you, I'm pretty sure they got a pretty good case. Obviously, there's politics involved that we're not going to talk about because we don't want to dive into that. But hopefully he can hopefully he has some good attorneys. Hopefully they're able to beat this. When the mob's involved, there's going to be rats. People are going to start snitching. So I wouldn't be surprised if he, started just singing like a canary just to save his own behind. So we'll see how that goes. So it's a really wild way to start off the first week of the NBA. So you're going to have games Mondays and Tuesdays on NBC Peacock, which was super nostalgic. It reminded me of like the old 90s-esque era with Jordan and Barkley with the physical play, the New York Knicks, Charles Oakley, those kind of bangers, you know what I mean? So it really like gave you that nostalgic kind of feel. And so hopefully the NBA, they'll recover from this. Any publicity is good publicity, so they'll recover from it. I was listening to Mad Dog Russo. They're expected to make like $7 billion this year off of, these streaming services and all their contracts. So they're not hurting for money. People aren't these streaming companies aren't asking for, their money back or nothing like that. So they're going to survive. They'll be okay. It's just like the NFL, you're going to have bad news sometimes. And unfortunately it has to do with gambling. And a lot of these things are sponsored by like FanDuel and DraftKings and ESPN bets and Underdog and Prize Picks. So it's just all over the place. It's just, ads everywhere. They're promoting it on their channels.
So everyone's an accomplice in this gambling situation. No one's innocent on it, if you ask my opinion. The networks are just as guilty. The leagues are just as guilty for accepting this and embracing it and willing to make a coin off of it. So I feel like everyone plays an integral part in this whole gambling conspiracy. And that's what you're going to get when you do these kind of illegal, when you do these activities that used to be illegal and now you make them legal. People are still going to look for shortcuts. They're still going to try to find ways to make a quick buck without having to get taxed. And so it's unfortunate it happened to this guy. I didn't like him as the coach, but obviously I don't want the guy to get arrested. I mean, maybe just fired, let him go, give him his walking papers. But other than that, it's unfortunate for him and his family. I'm sure he feels embarrassed, and now he really feels the remorse, and he's probably going to, like I said, sing like a canary. So that's our NBA recap, our Chauncey Billups recap. And so, like I said, we'll see what happens. We'll be talking a lot about the NBA throughout the show now because the season will be going on. So we have another sport to talk about aside from just football. But speaking of football, NFL recap. We're a little late. We already had the Thursday night game. My Bolts pulled it out after we just got mollywopped by the Colts last week. Denver played a crazy game. They ended up scoring like 33 points in one quarter and came back and beat the Giants. Dallas is still doing well. They smashed on the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is hurt again. The Thursday night game last week was really good. We had Joe Flacco going against the Steelers. He was slanging the rock. He was spinning it. And that was a really good game, just watching two old white guys. Like, it's almost like two dads that were playing all-time quarterback in street football. You know what I mean? It was just some old dudes. Just like they have the vision, they have the accuracy, and they're just going to be hitting that little 8-year-old on the slant on the sidelines. And then they're going to hit that one kid going deep down past the telephone pole. So it was really cool to watch. It was a really, it's nice to see like these kind of stories like Flacco, where he just comes in. He's only been with the team for a week, and he's out here just slanging the ball really well. Best receivers he's ever had in his whole career, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Bengals can salvage their season. And if they do, they owe a cut of it to the Browns for trading them Flacco for merely nothing. So that was that. Bucks lost to the Lions. Rams were in London. They smashed on the Jaguars without Puka. Devontae Adams really stepped up. He got into that number one role, fitting really good with that team. And Rams are a deep team, and I have them and the Bills in the Super Bowl still. Even though the Bills are looking a little fraudulent, they could be on my report possibly. We don't know. And we'll see how that goes. And then this week, like I said, we started off with the Chargers versus the Vikings. My Bolts came back with the old 90s jerseys, nostalgic again, made your boy's eyes water. Like, I was like so deep into it, like made me think of Pops. Like, it was just so deep. Like, look, I was looking for LT. I'm like, where's LT? Where's John Carney? Like, where are these fools? Like, what's going down right now? So it was a good way to start the weekend, especially when your team wins. It's like, it really leads you into a nice weekend. So Chargers ended up starting this week off good for me. And hopefully they can bring these jerseys back again, because they were awesome. It reminded me of like Say out there just like throwing the bolt, Donnie Edwards doing, picking balls off at middle linebacker. So it was great to see that. And I love my Chargers no matter what, through thick and thin. It's always usually thick. I don't know what's thick and thin. I guess it's like, I don't know which part's worse, thin or thick, but either way, I ride or die for these fools, and they've broken my heart many a times. So, and now to our fraudulent report. Here we go. So the fraudulent report. So there's some teams out there with pretty good records. You see it on paper. Oh, they're 4-1, they're 5-2, whatever. And what you don't realize is who they played. Who did they play? So first fraudulent report. Let's get out our files. We're going to go with the Bears. The Bears have beat Dallas, Commanders, Saints, and Raiders. To me, that's a fraudulent record. The Cowboys, they're good. They don't have a defense. Commanders banged up. They haven't had McLaurin all year. I don't think Jaden Daniels was fully healthy yet. He was probably banged up still when they beat them. Saints are the Saints, and the Raiders are the Raiders. So our first fraudulent team is going to be the Chicago Bears. They have not really beat a team with a winning record yet. So they're on my fraudulent report. Next fraudulent team. I'm calling a fraud alert right now on the New England Patriots. I'm calling the fraud alert on the New England Patriots. Hit up Credit Karma. We got a fraud out here, guys. Patriots have beat the Dolphins, Panthers, Bills, Saints, and Titans. The Bills, they have a winning record, but they have flaws too, and they could be fraudulent possibly. We don't know yet. We haven't got that deep into the file bin. So the Patriots, yeah, like I said, beat the Dolphins. Panthers are okay. Bills, Saints, and Titans. So I'm going to go with the Patriots on my fraud report. We're going to keep an eye on them. Hopefully they could beat some teams, other teams with winning records down the road. But right now they're on my fraud report. Next team up in the fraudulent cabinet is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers have beat the Browns, Pats, where the Pats turn the ball over a lot, Vikings in Ireland when Carson Wentz, and they've also beat the Jets. So adding that up, they've only, if you want to consider, the Pats have a winning record, but like I said, they also turned the ball over a lot that game. Right? They probably out-dominated them in the stats. I wouldn't even doubt it. So the Steelers are my third team on the fraud report. And the fourth team on the fraudulent NFL report, Credit Karma. Credit Karma. We have a fraud. Who is the fraud? It's the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills. They've beaten the Ravens the first game by 1 point. They got lucky. And then after that, they beat the Jets, Dolphins, and Saints. So after beating the Ravens, they haven't beat a team with a winning record. None of the teams they've actually beaten have a winning record. So it's like, are the Bills really that good, or have they gotten blessed by an easy schedule so far? So that's the fourth team on my fraudulent report, the Buffalo Bills. From the top to the bottom, we got the Bears, Patriots, Steelers, and Bills. All frauds as of right now, even though I do have the Bills in the Super Bowl, but I got to call it how you see it. They haven't played nobody yet. It's looking kind of fraudulent. All right, next up, we had the MLB World Series starting tonight. Yeah, I filmed this on a Friday. I'll probably drop it tomorrow because I'm lazy. Whatevs. So I don't even know the score as of right now. I want the Blue Jays to win. You know, I root for the underdog in baseball because they have no salary cap. Even though the Blue Jays did spend buku bucks on like Vlad. Yeah, I want the Blue Jays to win, even though they spent buku bucks on Vlad Guerrero. I just like the underdog, you know. And plus the Dodgers, they were there last year. So I don't want these fools to win again. And they're the Padres rival, even though I'm not a big baseball guy. I still go for my old school San Diego Padres team, you know, good old Tony Gwynn, Gary Sheffield, the crime dog, Fred McGriff. I've been around the block with the Padres. So yeah, I hope the Blue Jays can pull it off. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the score tonight. Hopefully they won. If not, so be it. I don't have a dog in the fight. I ain't gonna bet on it. So yeah, that's the MLB series prediction. Hopefully it is a good series. Hopefully it goes 7 games. Keeps people entertained. And you know, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll follow each game just, you know, here and there. Not gonna put too much effort into it. And next up at the end of the show, it's the juiced up takes. All right, our first juiced up take. So I've been seeing Kevin Federline. There you go. Who? Exactly. Kevin Federline. This is the guy that married, he was the backup dancer that married Britney Spears, ended up getting 2, you know, got lucky, knocked her up, got 2 kids with her. And then when she went cuckoo, he was Splitsville. And then when she had her conservatorship or whatever it's called, you know what, they had the judge overlooking her money and the dad was controlling her money and whatnot. He was living large. The guy got fat as fuck. Not gonna lie. He became fat, probably not doing much, taking care of his kids. Not saying taking care of kids isn't a hard job. It is. I'm a dad. I know. Taking care of kids can be hard. But it's a lot easier when you don't have to work and you got a nice little steady income of money coming through. And then once her conservatorship fell off, your boy moved to Hawaii. I'm pretty sure he's hurting for money because now he's writing a memoir, and that's why I'm bringing this up. So he's been doing a little podcast tour promoting his book. Obviously, his life is not relevant aside from him marrying Britney Spears. So that's pretty much what all the book talks about, is him just basically, you know, just railroading her through the book, you know, talking about things she did when she was pregnant that should probably stay behind closed doors that no one needs to know, all because he's trying to make a buck. And still the buck that he's making is based off of her. Like, when was the last time Kevin Federline, when was the last time you made your own money? Not using Britney's name and not getting her conservatorship money. When was the last time you got a job and you actually made some money without having to use without using Britney as a piggyback? This guy ain't done nothing. This guy hasn't done anything. You know what I mean? He hasn't done anything. And now you want to write a book about your wife who was basically taking care of you and your kids and you didn't have to work at all, and you want to railroad her because you're broke now because the piggy bank ran out and they cut you off and your kids off? It just shows the type of character you are, bro. And I will never agree, even with the female railroading the male. That stuff should stay behind closed doors. That's your private business. That's when you guys were married. You don't railroad people like that, especially when they have mental health issues and you're just trying to make a quick buck off of it because you're broke and you're probably going to start delivering DoorDash in Waikiki. So, I have an issue with that. I don't like that, man. Keep stuff behind closed doors. You don't air out your shit like that. Especially when someone took care of you and your sons, even though they had shit going on. They were grinding. They were out there working. You weren't in them concerts with her. You weren't practicing with her. You weren't having to do all the dance rehearses and all the choreographing stuff. You weren't there, bro. You were living fat on the couch while she was working. Take your ass to work and get a real job, homeboy. Man up. First juiced up take, Kevin Fairline, deadbeat loser. That's my take. Next up, all right, I found a funny story. I was scrolling. I couldn't really, I had some kind of like morbid stories lately. You know what I mean? They were kind of morbid. They were like, people dying, kids getting involved. It sucked. It sucked. It really did. I feel bad. I apologize for bringing those morbid stories. But I got a good one. It's pretty funny. Never doubt a scorned woman. When you break a woman's heart, never doubt what she's gonna do. Boo, boo. So this firefighter in Florida, outside of Orlando, I believe. Basically the title of the article is "Firefighter Charged with Stalking After Throwing 100 plus tampons painted red on ex-boyfriend's lawn." So this this woman, she's also a firefighter. Her ex-boyfriend happened to be a lieutenant, but I don't think they're in the same station. And they broke up. Ex-girlfriend got wind that he got a new girlfriend who's also a firefighter. And so this is also a side story of where you don't shit where you eat, even if you're not at the same station. Don't even do it. Go mess with a cop, go mess with the EMT or something. Like, stay away from other firefighters. Like, don't do this. So she was upset at 10:08 p.m. on Monday, September 29th. A woman threw more than 100 tampons into her ex-boyfriend's yard. The time is able to be specific because the whole thing was caught on camera. And I think that's what people don't realize these days. Yeah, you're caught up in your emotions. You got to think this shit through. Ring cams, surveillance cams on people's houses. You got to mask the fuck up. You got to mask up. No face, no case. Hide those tattoos too. You can't give them any evidence. You can't do it. You can't do it. Mask up. And so the couple immediately threw suspicion on the man's ex because she alleged social media posts she made and other people purportedly telling them that she was not happy he had a new girlfriend. By the next day, investigators had arrested the man's former girlfriend, Gabriella Franz, 28. The 28-year-old is accused of carrying out an elaborate stunt because she was unhappy that her ex-boyfriend had a new girlfriend, according to a arrest report reviewed by the Daytona Beach News Journal. Florida got some wild folks, man. I ain't gonna lie. Florida got some wild folks out there. I mean, I know they're on the East Coast, but Florida's like the wild, wild West. They're wild out there. That Ron DeSantis, they doing wild shit out there. Yeah, Florida ain't no joke. So that was at first. She said she didn't even know the ex-boyfriend lit. So here's now the police go to interview her, and she says, "I don't even know where." At first, she said she didn't even know where her ex-boyfriend lived, but had to back down on that claim when deputies showed her the footage. The footage of her truck at his home. A nearby intersection camera also caught the license plate in the direction, going in the direction of the ex-boyfriend's house. So she changed her story when she figured out they did have evidence and dirt on her. Franze, whatever her name is, who works as an Orange County firefighter, was arrested as the primary aggressor in the incident per Fox 35 and charged with 2 counts of misdemeanor stalking. She was released later on her own recognizance. And then, so she's put on paid leave from the department. The outlet reports she's been a firefighter since 2019. They say she's a really good firefighter. They never had any issues with her at work, aside from this little incident that she just happened. And then after allegedly admitting that she was there, according to court documents, Franzi claimed that the whole idea was her mother's and her aunt. So after she tries to lie her way out, gets caught, and then now she's trying to drop a dime on her mom and her aunt, saying that this was their idea. I didn't want to do it, but you're the aggressor in this whole thing. You're out there, got out the truck, throwing them shits on the yard. And so she's like, basically this chick's just trying to cover her own ass. She's like, she's just lost. At this point, just admit wrong. Admit what you did. Stop trying to dime out your mom and your aunt. You're a grown-ass woman. You're almost 30 years old. You could have said, no, I don't want to do this, and not have partaked in it. So, and the fact you're trying to lie to say you don't know where your boyfriend lives, come on, man. Come on, man. Are you going to believe that? Are you going to really believe that, boo-boo? You don't know where your boyfriend lives? Come on. So I just thought that was a funny story to share. Never mess with a scorned woman. And that's our juiced up takes for today. Hey! And that's episode 13. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Like I said, subscribe, hit the like button, pass the word around to friends. We're just trying to get subscribers, trying to get some viewers. Just having fun, making entertainment. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions on anything. If you guys want to see some different segments or whatnot. And next week, episode 14, obviously NFL recap. We'll go over some more NBA stuff that happened over the weekend. If there was any good college games, we'll go over that. And then I'll look in to see if I have some shows to recommend. Right now, I'm watching Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. I'm watching The Neighborhood, like I mentioned last episode. Still on my 90-day. Haven't really picked up any new shows just yet. Still got to get to Black Rabbit, but I know that is a very good one. So maybe this weekend I'll be able to crack that one open. And I'm Jake Deuce Up Accardo, and that's our show for tonight. Thank you very much.